So, your parents, why are they responsible?
I think,
The list just.
yeah, I think they're responsible because they have their own context um, for their own, not development, but like, because they're like, I wouldn't want to say imports, but like they came from China to immigrants. That's the word. Yeah, they're immigrants.
Immigrant mentality.
Yeah, pretty much. They have
I'm
that,
an immigrant.
yeah, they have that immigrant mentality. They're starting out. They don't know anyone in Australia, so they have to like start from scratch all over again, and then they're putting that responsibility, I guess, onto like the next generation to like establish a foothold in, I guess, any fashion, I suppose. But like the pressure, so you know how there's that stereotype where it's like Asian kids have to be like doctors or engineers or something.
Yeah.
I guess that's based on the parents putting the expectation that the child has to establish the largest foothold possible. But I mean, how I see it is more like you establish a foothold and then slowly grow it out.
Of course. True, very true. Because, like, a lot of perspectives to explore.
Sure.
Because one would argue that smallest foothold was the parents.
Yeah. Like the fact
they want a
they
bigger one
came
now.
in is
Yeah.
the small foothold.
But of course, for them, mind you, there is definitely a middle ground that we're not touching, and you're trying to get me to get the whole cow.
Yeah.
I get the point. What you're saying isn't uncommon. It's a very common experience. You know what I mean? Like, every Asian kid goes through it. It's always,
Yeah, no.
like, as you're saying that, I'm just envisioning, like, I just realized a lot of kids non-immigrant family kids, they don't know that feeling of growing up with some degrees. Hey, the pressure ain't always bad.
Yeah.
The pressure's good. Like, I felt that pressure. I felt that bit of, there's a level of responsibility here that, hey, my parents have come from a place to another place. They've started something up here. My dad was a refugee. He risked his life for something better, so that his son could have something better. So, okay, without them having to tell me, which they did tell me, but I can see why I need to make something better. Like, don't let that go to waste.
Yeah.
Make something better. My experience, at least, no one was telling me, be a doctor. That will make me better. No, they weren't. They were telling me, do what I want. And they knew that they were happy with what I wanted to do. So I was lucky for that as well. And one of the kids, my experience is varied because I see other people, but then I also, for me, I was lucky I knew what I wanted to do. So I did well English, things like that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't I didn't get my butt kicked. Once year 7 hit, like, year 6 didn't do my assignments. Year 7 hit, and I was doing like homework, like it was missions, bro. I was trying to get like all the trophies.
100% complete.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like the teacher told us to summarize some chapters and stuff, bro. I basically I ran out of ink writing like summaries because I just want to teacher's pet, man. Like, you go to not in selective school, but I go to private school and I just wanted to do well.
Yeah.
I started flourishing. I told you I flourished after the test. I didn't do well in selective, and then I flourished after. So yeah, your parents they put that pressure on you, and it's so that you want to survive the next lineage, generation.
Yeah, exactly.
And what I've found is, it births a lot of problems.
Oh yeah.
Very toxic environment. From massive things, from jealousy. That those parents, their kid did this and my kid didn't. That's one. Or I want this and my kid can't achieve. And the experience of, if you talk about selective schooling were made the idea of gifted and talented, right? Did you understand this?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've done education, you understand. Gifted and talented. What that means is that the test was to, kind of find those people who kind of naturally inclined, right? Naturally going to, like, prosper in this environment. Naturally, the gifted and talented in sports and academics, things like that, right?
Yeah.
And then the immigrants came. The Asians came to fuck it all up. Because the Asians came and went, well, look, I've worked hard, I've risked my life, or I've blood, sweat, tears. I want my kid to have the best. Yep. And I want them to earn the best.
Oh yeah.
and I'll do everything I can to get that. So what did that birth? The tutoring industry.
Oh yeah.
Tutoring it because and I mean, hey, I'm very proud. Like when you talk to me about this experience, I sit and I go, "Far, these Asian parents are a bit whack," but I also go, I'm very proud of what they were able to like kind of the foothold for Asians. And I mean, I'm proud. It's not necessarily good that I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it, but I also understand that a lot of people exist under that pressure of it.
Oh yeah.
You yourself, like this thing that I'm telling you that I'm proud that Asian has achieved, is this peer pressure that we have from dead people or people who shouldn't even have a say in our lives
Oh, yeah.
to perform a certain way. Why? Yeah, like money problems where people are wasting their money trying to buy things to impress people they don't like. Asians, they are pressuring their children to do well to impress people they shouldn't really like.
Yeah.
People who, because if you're someone who, when I'm around you, it makes me do that kind like, if I hang around someone and they make me go home and pressure my kid to like burn out, I shouldn't hang around that person. That's what I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was you know, dude, you were tutoring before the selective test, right?
Yeah.
See, and this isn't to like to highlight. Oh, so you didn't get in without tutoring. And I mean, there was an outrage about it. And the outrage was like all these Asians were coming, getting tutored, and hey, this outrage because I'm a terrible person. I love that outrage. I love that like so many people got angry that these Asians were performing so well. And I love that. I'm all about it. But then we look at the other side of what it meant. What it meant was there were a lot of kids who they didn't suit. First of all, it's very simple to go to, you're not smart enough. Not smart enough is one thing, one, angle. There's another angle of, it just wasn't suited for you. What if you were more inclined for something that didn't have to do with,
Academics.
straight academics, just subjects? Or what if you were more, it didn't seem like, see, the thing is, as I'm saying this, I can't say it didn't seem like a very varied perspective. I feel like the selective schools prevent, more. But I mean, I'm talking to you, and you feel like it wasn't suitable for you.
No.
And so that thing that I'm proud of, because you can't just assume, because I love that joke. I'm very proud of the all Asians good at math. I'm not good at math, but I love that I can stand by that. We earned that. We worked because hard work deserves praise. We work hard.
Sure.
And it's not like, you're not naturally gifted and talented. You worked hard and now you're here and you're going to have a bad time. No, because you kept working hard and you kept doing better and you kept succeeding. That happens.
Yeah.
It's whether or not the environment suits you or whether or not you want it. A lot of that wasn't taken into consideration.
No.
At what point did your parents ask you, hey, do you want to go to selective school?
At what point did they ask? I feel like they asked, but I can't remember when. And I was like, sure, I'll go for it. Because I didn't know any better, right? Like,
It was like that experience. I say that experience, but I don't feel like I experienced it. But I'll ask you then to tell me more about that experience. Did you feel like you were raised to not know that any other answer?
well, I mean,
with the pressure of your brother and things like that growing up.
the
how
other
you're like,
answer would have given parents a whole lot of disappointment.
there you go.
Parental expectations.
So, do you see a scenario where I go, oh no, I don't want to. I just want to kind of, and they go, oh, cool.
No, I do not.
How would it have gone?
If I try and concretely imagine it, I can't really imagine it.
You
But
don't even want to imagine
no,
it.
I don't.
Just-
Not really.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because remember, listen, I gave him an out. I was like, hey, did they ever ask you if you wanted to? And hey, you gave them an out. You were like, yeah, they did. I went, okay, cool. Let me poke at that. And what if you said you didn't want to? And there you go. Wasn't it been good?
No.
So obviously we can see how there's parents are held responsible. And when I talk about the immigrant mentality. I talk about you've worked hard, you struggled your whole life, but most of your life, pretty much to some extent.
Yeah.
And this is all degrees. Some Asian parents academic inclined. They had it a bit easier. Their parents, their kids do better. Some weren't as academic inclined. There's all sorts. I hear all sorts of stories. And again, go back to the word proud. Very proud of what we're able to achieve and that foothold that we have. There is nothing wrong with being known as like one of the more like intelligent, well, if you, stereotypes, let's say,
Yeah.
right? Without trying to be offensive. No. Oh, humans are born equal. They're not. But being the stereotype, I have no shame in being the stereotype that is known to be good at maths when I am not. This is my personal experience. I know there are probably people who like they hate it. They hate it. Oh, you're Asian. You must be good at math, and that because they're not. And yeah, I don't know, I feel like nowadays I feel like the world's a bit soft, but
Yeah.
from my perspective. But do you because now I feel like I've exhausted the, you know, laying it out on your parents.
Sure.
You feel like I've exhausted it, right? Like
Yeah,
I can ease up a bit. Let's talk about us then. Because
Sure.
remember that responsibility that I told you that we understand, right?
Uh-huh.
It's fair, right?
Yeah.
It's fair, and we should be able to uphold it, like to some degree,
True.
or at least try.
Yeah.
Try in the pursuit and fail. Talk about that middle ground that you're talking about, because you know being a doctor is this huge foothold.
Yep.
Tell me about that foothold, this idealistic foothold that you would think would be more realistic.
So initial foothold would be like the parents getting like low paying jobs like cleaner, I guess.
Mhm.
Cleaner, trucky, that sort of stuff. And then middle ground would be like, I guess my current vocation, I guess, is a middle ground.
Mhm.
Like just teaching. Teaching would be like a middle ground.
Mhm.
And then pretty sure there are other types of middle grounds, but just specifically that the first thought that comes to my mind
from
is
your perspective,
yeah,
from what you're seeing.